Yahweh, creator of all, gratitude abounds for the falling of the wicked and their empires built on the lies and deceit, pain and suffering, poverty of spirit and extinguished hope. Great gratitude for your foot soldiers here assembled. We who see and experience the depravity and are assembled to show up, to stand, to face our oppressors. They puff themselves up as if they are powerful in their false authority. We see them as afraid and weak. They move or block us like markers on a game board with all their phony uniforms, robes, badges, statutes, licenses, doors, and locks. Their gated security is being breached by our intent, by our solidarity, by our presence of mind and knowledge. We witness their buffoonery, their charade, laughable were we not snared in it. We pray for good outcomes for all those among us caught in their deceit. We pray for consciousness among the minions who are in service to the wrong side of this war. The very people who have become persons unknowingly, let them know they can instead shift to the right side, the divine side of what is playing out. We pray for protection as we present ourselves and serve as witnesses and challengers to the indignant corruptocrats who lie and deny. For we are the dignitaries, the ones who are prepared to show presence and force, determination and creativity. We thank you for your continuing our resolve to free each and every one of us, especially now, from the greedy, grimy clutches. We say all of this humbly in your name and in your divine ever presence. Let it be so, and so it is.
Hello, my name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I have a document in my hand I want to get into the record. Many of you will know Robert Kelly. He had a in-print publication for decades down in Central Point, Oregon. A really nice guy, really smart. He died recently, months ago. In any case, he was one of our council, and he would come on with stuff every once in a while, and it was usually to correct me for doing something not right. And he'd tell me where right was, and yep, fix it. So anyhow, this was written in response to what the Jural Assembly was questioning. And he was acting as counsel. And this was years ago, 2 years ago, maybe more, I don't know. But the first question was Civil Rights 42 USC 1988 RICO. What do you have in the way of funds to train up people to comprehend what is involved in becoming a federal witness, as in 18 USC 1510? That's the question. And his answer was, should they not be a witness under Oregon Article 1, Section 1, having all power? And being sovereign, cannot they declare themselves to be a witness only in any federal court? Duh! The next question to him was, what court exactly is required to determine due process violations under 18 USC 3571? That's the one where it says if you break due process by fraud or other means, that's a violation and it's punishable with $250K to me for your mistake. And he says, gee, I thought the common law court, that's us, was superior to the federal Article 1 courts. That's true. Foreign administrative, foreign non-constitutional courts. That's again true. In regard to past email, R.E. Judge Mahoney in Credit versus River case. Oh, yeah, he used to quote stuff like that. So, our counsel to our Jural Assembly is laying it on the line for us exactly what we have to do. And right now, when we have to do it, serendipity, what form is needed for the violated man or woman who lost due process? G, a complaint. However, one does not go into any court, obviously a common law court, without a default agreement via one's affidavit of default. Yep. And we have all of those affidavits of default, signed, sealed, stamped, witnessed, proof of service, and published. www.orsja. So it looks like pretty much a clerical job of a few hours to put together the proper paperwork to provide a court's order to Tobias Reed. That paperwork's well cured. So it looks like a next step on forming a constitutional Republican form of government would be to execute the paperwork on Tobias Reed with the court's order for $250K to every member of the Oregon Statewide Jural Assemblies. What would we call that? Jury pool. Best word. And then that paperwork has to be served by 4 in Salem. It's got to be done soon. All that election stuff is happening. So I've recorded what I needed to record, and I have submitted it with council's suggestions, and all the paperwork seems to be in order. So I think we should move on that.
Hello, my name is Phil Dollison. Our goal, a return to the constitutional Republican form of government this year, 2024. It must be done in steps. A next step can be for a civilian common law court of record to require the sheriff and or the occupant of the office of sheriff to acquire for our perusal their proper oath to the proper constitutions with the laws of nature and of nature's God included. This has a protocol involved. In matters of over $20 in value, a verdict from a jury is required. In common law of Article 3 and Amendment 7, what you testify must be spoken in open court with witnesses that do not rebut you and form a jurat, signed, sealed, stamped, witnessed, with proof of service published. We use www.orsja.org. Thank you.
Article 1, Section 1 of Oregon's Constitution, Natural Rights Inherent in People. We declare that all men, when they form a social compact, are equal in right, that all power is inherent in the people, and all free governments are founded on their authority and instituted for their peace, safety, and happiness, and they have at all times a right to alter, reform, or abolish the government in such manner as they may think proper.
When referring to the First and Second Amendments of the United States of America's Constitution, free speech and the right to bear arms has somehow gotten twisted in the minds of the general public to be considered extreme conservatism. That very perception is the result of the intensive programming wrought on the people by those who choose politics over the United States of America's Constitution. Since when is upholding the original, the United States of America's Constitution have been increasingly trampled? Oh, and its Bill of Rights associated with extreme conservatism. These first two amendments to the Constitution have been increasingly trampled, increment by increment. A little bit here, a little more there. So here we are, decades and generations later, oblivious to the overreach and downright ignorance of this sacred document that has kept this nation as intact as it has prevailed, despite constant onslaughts.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. Then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up.
And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. and they shot him dead. And then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.
Hello, my name's Ron Vroman. I'm the old white man talking head for the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly. I'm going to be talking about Robert Lavoie Finicum, and I'm going to come at it from an oblique angle. The angle is how I ever got mixed up in that whole thing and how we're still today mixed up with those that murdered him. We are taking action currently, the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly, and our Article 3, Amendment 7, Civilian Common Law Court of Record, are taking action against the Oregon State Police currently on another issue. But as this new issue has come up, I'm sure we'll get around to finding how they have the bona fides to murder Robert and get Kate Brown to pass a rule, a law, an ordinance, a statute through the House and the Senate exonerating them. That's not right. But back to Robert Lavoie Finicum. I was a PAG, Private Attorney General across America at that time and before that time. I was in it with a guy named Tom, and his icon on the internet is Robert Lavoie Finicum sitting in a sleeping bag in a camp chair in the cold, out in the weather. And I just love it that there are so many of us that will not let that die. Not on our watch will we accept that stuff. Whew. So, Robert and a bunch of cowboys came up to Burns, Oregon to help rescue some folks named Hanson, I believe, a father and son that the BLM was prosecuting. Trump pardoned him and let him out. He did some good things. In any case, on our videos that we publish, we close with Robert Lavoie Finicum. Hell of a man. I was talking to Cliven Bundy. This was 2-3 years ago now. I talked to Ammon, Ryan, and Cliven, the brothers, pretty often. The old man, no, not so much. But I watch what they're doing on the internet, and in my conversation with Cliven, and I agree with a tremendous amount of what he has to say, he came forth with when he was in trouble, and I'm not quoting, but I'm remembering, however incorrectly. He was in trouble in Nevada on grazing rights and what was going on with the BLM and that whole thing. And he said, I sent out a call, and I don't know how many he sent out the call to. He told me, but I forget. And I said, wow, because I send out a call frequently, and we've sent out calls for grand juries and trial juries. So when you send out a call, getting it answered's another story. He sent out the call. I said, how many came? He said, one, Robert Lavoie Finicum. Hell of a man. So, I don't know if it's still up on the internet or not, but he did a video that I thought was well done. It was out in some pasture land that he had on the soil jurisdiction, Arizona. And it was his land to graze stock on. And he had bought those rights and he owned them. And the BLM was giving him trouble. And his daughter was filming it. I'm pretty sure he's LDS and has a bunch of kids. The whole thing was just horrible. But anyhow, he answered the call and they killed him. They do that to us. We have to be careful and we have to watch out what we're doing, and you have to do it the best you possibly can. I was so upset with him when he said, just shoot me. And then they did. What a horrible thing. And we're trying to deal with that on Oregon. They did it on our state. Their de facto state colluding with the de facto FBI from the United States of Washington District of Columbia, Inc., that de facto criminal organization conspired and did murder Robert Lavoie Finicum. That is a nice glass of wine. So, where are we and what are we doing and how does this all involve Robert Lavoie Finicum? An actual martyr. If you look up the word, there he is. And so sad. Not an illustrious end at all, just absolutely horrible. And that trash has to be cleaned up. And that's what we're doing with the Oregon Statewide Jural Assembly and the Oregon State Police. They are out of their jurisdiction, and we're taking it to them. It takes a long time to run up enough strength, energy, and power, authority, mindset to go straight into their nest and hammer them visually, physically, in their presence, spiritually. The last time we went to the Oregon State Police headquarters, I think that was in 21 or 22. I'm not sure. There was 4 of us, maybe 5. I don't remember right now. I know Charlie Farwell, Brandon, and I think 4. And we visited various places to deliver various pieces of information. And one of them was the Oregon State Police headquarters. So we got there and parked. The 4 of us walked down to their door, and it's locked. and they won't answer the door. You knock hard on the door, and it's double doored for weather, but you can see into their lobby area. You can see the desk of the receptionist. And she had come to the door before, several months ago, when we served them with paper. But this time she looked at the door and would not respond, so we went over and knocked on their windows, and they pulled the blinds. We beat on those doors. I mean, we made a hell of a racket. And nobody would respond. So we eventually left. Funny that, right? This group that's brave enough to shoot an unarmed man in the snow won't answer their front door to 4 people in a court, a common law court of record. When we go there real soon, to change from a de facto Oregon State Police Agency to a de jure Oregon State Police with the proper oath to the proper Constitution and with their acts cleaned up, they can self-correct, but you can't write a rule or a law exonerating those that murdered Robert Lavoie Finicum. That will be corrected. Not on my watch. And I yield.
They do not want to let go of this. They do not intend on losing here. And we do not intend giving it back to them.
And then the bullets started flying. And then he jumps out of the car. And he's got both his hands up.
And he got out of the car, and he had his hands in the air. He's like, just shoot me then. This is what you want, to shoot me. And they did. They shot him dead. With his hands in the air, and I saw it. I swear to God. He was just walking with his hands in the air. And they shot him. And they shot him dead, and then after he was down on the ground, they shot him 3 more times.